right. Hello, everybody. This is the Insurance Disruptors Podcast, a podcast built for you, the insurance agent. And today we have an awesome podcast for you. I'm a co-host, Nate Jones. I have Abe Busick with me, and we also have a special guest for you, Troy Thompson, the owner of Pinnacle Insurance Agency and also the president of Savador. And we're excited to have you, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much, Nate. I'm excited to be on. A big fan of your show. And hello, Abe. Can't wait to get going.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's just jump right in here. We want to be conscious of your time as well as everybody who's listening, their time not take up too much. But so, Troy, one thing I'm always interested in hearing when I interview people or when I talk to people in general is their story, right? And what led up to them being in the insurance industry. So if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your background, your past prior to insurance, and then what got you into insurance and where that's going for you now.
I think one of the best training I've ever had in my entire life was Southwestern. I worked for Southwestern Books. And Nate, I've even heard you use this term, control the controllables. That's where I learned that simple business motto is just do what you can do and not worry about the results, and success will happen. But Southwestern, I sold books door to door while I was in college. So I knocked on doors 80 hours a week to help pay my way through school. And I would give credit to Southwestern, way more credit to my success than any college degree. I'm kind of anti-college a little bit. I tell my kids that you can certainly go to college if you really want to, but you don't need to. And in fact, we can get into this a little bit, but I take my kids door to door all the time, and they're making a lot of money right now at 8 and 9 years old. So I did Southwestern Books while I was in college, where you go to a different city and sell books and run your own business, basically, like educational books for kids. And once I graduated, I sold cable door to door. So I went right back into door to door sales, and I did that for a decent amount of time after college. And then I got into insurance, and I actually got fired from my job and for going door to door when they told me I couldn't at I think it was Century or Quest at the time. And my dad, this is where I'm super lucky. This is how I got into insurance. My dad was a farmer's agent for, I think, 25, 30 years. And then he went independent at 62 years old. And I always thought how it would make so much sense to just go to door to door selling insurance, because then you can kind of self underwrite. You can just being independent, you can save most people money too. So I got fired. My dad had already been an independent agent for about a year. And I said, I'm going to come sell insurance with you. He said, okay. I got licensed the next week. And it was in January that I started knocking on doors. So coldest time of the year here in Minnesota. But didn't know anything about selling insurance. I mean, it takes 40 hours to get your license. And I wasn't selling at that time anyway. I just literally was getting leads and giving them to my dad. And he would put one in his name and one in my name. And I did that for years. I mean, I still do go door to door, and I think it's a great way to get quick leads for free, and quick warm leads totally free. Yeah, that's how I got into the business. I bought my dad out 4 years ago. And again, very, very lucky, because I know how hard it is to start an insurance agency from scratch. And I didn't have to do that. So anybody that'll tell me how lucky I am because of my dad. Here's a picture of him and with those big old glasses back in like 1980 at Farmers. So he's my idol. I learned a lot from him.
So door knocking is something you did even well before insurance, it sounds like. So we dig into that in a little bit. You have tons of experience and sounds like more than qualified to talking about door knocking.
I went way back to probably 8 years old. I sold lemonade door to door. I put lemonade in my wagon because I didn't like waiting for people.
There was two things you mentioned there in your background that I really love. First off, Southwestern.
Do you guys know about Southwestern?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I've never done anything with them, but I've read a lot, like talked to a lot of people who did stuff for them, and just the leadership side of things that they instill in the early age and entrepreneurial.
Best training ever. I'm going to have my kids both work for Southwestern at least one summer.
Yeah. And then I have a 3-year-old son, and I love the fact that you're taking your kids like door to door and teaching them entrepreneur and sales now. Like, I can't wait to do that with mine, because I agree with you. My college degree was the biggest thing I ever wasted money on. So
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's good to have the piece of paper, especially if it's something you're going to be a doctor or lawyer. But when you look at companies like Amazon and Facebook, they don't require college degrees. Yeah. So why are we telling our kids they have to go to college to be successful?
Yeah. But I love that you're doing that. On a side note, one day I may have to look you up and hear how you're doing that with your kids, so I can implement some of that with my children down the road. So,
well, maybe we can talk about it on the podcast, because this is something that's just happening right now, and it's kind of blowing me away at their success.
Why don't we, are you okay if we talk about that for a couple minutes, Nate, and then we dive into what we had?
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook. I was like, this is awesome. I don't have kids yet, but I'm like, man, it's so cool that you did a video like the before and after, and like,
sure, thank you,
transparent about it, you know.
So they both have gone door to door with me selling insurance, and sometimes people think, and my kids are 8 and 9 now, I've done it for a couple of years, but sometimes people think I do it for sympathy or something to get leads, but they actually slow me down a little bit. However, I enjoy it that much more because I can talk to them between doors, and we can talk about life lessons and things like that. So had a lot of success, and that's probably how they got used to going door to door. But just last year, I think we started, but this year we're doing a lot more, where I buy these bags of chips, variety bags of chips for like $7 for 18 bags. And sometimes I have them compete against each other, where the first one to sell through the bag of chips gets a $10 bonus from me. And then they take opposite sides of the road and they just go. They sell the chips for $1, but they get like $5, $10, $20 tips. So they're making really good money. But my son just this week has gone out almost every night this week, and he makes $25 in an hour doing it.
Dang.
So then I've done the math with him, and I don't know what it is, because I'm not pushing him to do it. Like, we were going out in the rain the other day, and it's not fun. We're going to go out tonight too. But I've done the math with him. If you make $100 a week till you're 18 and invest half of that, you'll make about $36,000. You'll have $36,000 by the time you graduate high school. And then I'm like, if you want to buy a car, we'll match whatever you invest into a car. Mom and dad will match that. That's the Dave Ramsey 401 car thing. So we're going to do that. But then I'm like, if you keep that money in there and keep doing it till you're like 40, 50, you'll have millions of dollars. That's all you have to do. So
that's awesome. Where did you get the idea of doing that? I'm just curious, or did it just kind of happen by accident, or was it intentional? Or
with the kids and the chips?
Yeah. Yep.
One of the ways was my son was in Cub Scouts, and now he's not in it because we're just too busy with sports. But it's like, you can win these little toys if you sell these super expensive bags of popcorn for the Boy Scouts. Sure. And it takes a lot. It's a lot harder sale, because people are like, I can get that at Walmart for a third of the cost, that popcorn. So, and he was able to buy something because he was one of the top kids a few years ago doing it. And I was like, why don't we just cut the Boy Scouts out and let's just go make money on our own? You don't have to have a reason, Ty. You can just say, he says he's doing it for fun to the people, because I honestly think he does have fun doing it. So yeah, I'm trying to, save money, whatever he says. But we just decided to do it on our own, and he likes it, and he likes counting the money at the end of the day. And I'm like looking at him I'm like, Ty, you're 7, you're already learning how to be self-reliant. Most 18-year-olds, 20, 30-year-olds don't know how to do that yet.
Yeah.
So, and we had a great learning lesson a couple nights ago, where this older lady in this townhome association chewed his butt. And I never even go up to the doors with him. So I was in the street, and she's like, that there's no soliciting in here, and I can call the police and they can come. And I'm like, holy cow. And I was like, I'm going to let her chew his butt a little bit longer. And then I called him over after about 20 seconds. She was still talking to him. It's like, Ty, come here, man. And he got up to me, and of course, tears were coming down his face a little bit. And I was like, ma'am, he's 7 years old. So I said that. And I'm like, Ty, this happens. This is all part of it. And you know that you can quit now, and then you'll think about this, and you may not ever want to go door to door again, or we can go to the next door. And I guarantee the next door, you're going to have success. And then he was talking about soliciting. He didn't know what it meant. And then we were laughing about that. And I was like, you should have said, ma'am, I don't know I can't read that good. I don't know what soliciting means. And we were laughing because her son answered the door. I'm like, look at her son. He's like 40, still lives with her. She's got a miserable life. But we just kept going. And the last house we sold like all our chips, and he was thrilled. I'm like, that's the lesson. The lesson is you just keep going to the next door. You don't stop when you have adversity.
Yeah, so, I think that's cool because you mentioned, sports is a good way to learn adversity, but when you're door knocking, that is adversity,
Yeah.
It's like in sports today, sometimes everybody gets a trophy now, and door to door, it's like, you got to earn that, Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly right, Nate. And I'm thinking like, I'm huge into sports, and my son's pretty good at sports, but I don't want his feeling of self-worth to depend on how good of an athlete he is or how well he does at sports. I want him to be the greatest athlete. We're in wrestling now. We do baseball, football, all that stuff. But talk about differentiating yourself from every other kid, being an excellent salesperson and knowing how to go door to door and support yourself at that age. I mean, it's a nice little advantage.
I'm going to frame what you just said there one day. So you can quit now and think about this for the rest of your life, or you can go to the next.
Yeah.
Like that's, we could end the podcast right there with that. And that would be fire. I love that. Like you can quit now and think about it for the rest of your life, or just go make one more door knock and make your sale.
Yeah, no doubt, Dave. Yeah, I was thrilled. And I'm excited that he wants to go tonight. I mean, rain, shine, he doesn't care. So I'm going to keep posting it on Facebook.
Yeah, I love following it.
Yeah.
So to get to more insurance focus. So if you were an agent right now, let's say somebody came to your team and they're like, hey, I want to be an agent. And what's something like you would give that person advice, or if you were starting, how would you go about your sales in 2021?
Well, for the personal lines, we're 92% personal lines. Of course, we know I like going door to door. And because the leads are free, you're making that human connection. And when I was out knocking on doors, even during this pandemic, people love it, especially last year when they were literally shut down and nobody was having face-to-face interaction. I wasn't shaking their hands, but people are like, you're not doing it now with COVID. I'm like, yeah, this is the best time ever, because everybody was home. Everybody was happy to talk to someone. I was standing 6 feet back. And it was just this simple. It was like, hi, I'm Troy with Pinnacle Insurance. I bet I can save you money on your auto and home insurance. And I have nothing in my hands. And then and they think about it for a minute. And they're like, okay. And then I take out my notepad and name, number, email. Who are you currently with? How about I call you tomorrow? So I set that follow-up appointment. So that's what I would recommend. Just the the real old school style still works now more than ever, because I think so many people depend on digital now. Mm-hmm. That if you can do something that's different, that's what works. That and reaching out to the mortgage brokers, that's another solid way we get our leads, and getting that face-to-face with them.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Nate.
I was just going to say, I feel like in today, it's how can we acquire clients without touching, talking, or interacting with clients. And I feel like if you do the opposite, you can actually get a lot of sales in, and
yeah, just like we're doing right now. Face-to-face through Zoom is another good way to do it, but people would rather text and direct message and email. I mean, they all have their place, but your success is going to be the face-to-face, picking up the phone and calling people. Nobody does that anymore. And guess what? They think that you're going to bother someone by calling them. Nobody's getting phone calls like they used to. So you're really not going to bother people. And then you can, relate to them through the emotion, the enthusiasm, the empathy, all that stuff you can get with your voice that you can't through other methods.
So you're just pulling up to a neighborhood, and just a random neighborhood, and you're knocking on doors, and your opening line is, I'm Troy. I bet I can save you money on your home and auto.
Yeah, Troy with Pinnacle. Because when I first started, I would talk way too long. And I'm like, these people don't hear what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm an independent insurance agent. And the nice thing about independent is we have all these different carriers and companies and options. And if you give me an opportunity, we can see what we can do. And now I just cut it down and really simplify it and put the ball in their court, talk really slow. Like when I have people follow me, they're like, man, you talk slow. Because they're thinking really fast. So you have to actually talk really slow at the door. So it's, hi, I'm Troy with Pinnacle Insurance. I bet I could save you money on your home insurance. And then it's silence. It can be silent for 10, 20 seconds. It makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but they're just processing what's going on. And then when they say, okay, they're like, great. Yeah, we're Pinnacle. We're like a few miles down the road. I own the agency. And then you pull out your pad. You don't have cards. You have cards with you, but you don't present the cards until they commit to letting you give them a quote. And then you send them send them a reminder, like a text reminder or whatever. You set that appointment though. So they are ready before you leave. You're making sure to get that commitment with what time you can call them. But the beauty is you're getting their data too. You're getting their cell phone, their email, and all that you can't get through a lot of public information.
Yeah. And Troy and I had a call about this. It was like 3 months ago, right?
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
I was curious. I was like, I saw him on another podcast. I'm like, tell me what you're doing. And we actually went and tried it. And I didn't do the piece of paper thing and get their data. I didn't do that. I should have. But we knocked on 50 doors and I handed out 17 business cards and we had 2 people call us for their insurance. So if I would have
called you.
Yeah.
Wow. So whatever you were saying was good because
I said what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah. I do the opposite though. I don't really like handing my cards out until they commit to letting me give them a quote. So maybe I should change the way I do things.
Yeah. I was going to do that. And then I just got a little nervous and I was like, man, I'm just going to hand them my card.
Yeah. Because there is that awkward stage because they're like,
yeah.
Oh.
He didn't want Miss Betty, the 72-year-old lady, to chew him out and call the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's hard. I'm telling you, if you're going to try this, it's kind of like, you just got to do it. It's hard. It's awkward. And I need to do more of it. I'll raise my hand and say I'm failing on that right now, but yeah.
Well, like you said, Nate, it's just doing it. Like when I first started my first week in January, like 12 years ago, my pitch was way too long. But I still got 5 leads an hour doing it. So the key, and you had 2 people call you back from an hour or so. So the key is just literally doing it. It doesn't matter what you say, just show up and you'll have success.
So you kind of just hit on one of the questions I was going to ask about metrics. So basically, if you're outdoor knocking for an hour and you're obviously being a steady pace, not knocking on one, sitting in your car for 10 minutes, building up the courage to knock on another one, but you're just going door to door to door.
Oh, yeah. I would have my wife
5 leads an
back
hour.
in the day. She literally would drop me off in the neighborhood. So I didn't have the car door objection, like hiding in my car.
Right.
And it would rain on me some days and I'd be calling her like, where are you at? She's like,
well, the cool
thing, get inside a house.
Well, the cool thing is you've been doing this for 12 years. Is that what you said? So that's just persistence and dedication and commitment to just keep
consistency
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Consistency is everything because you'll have good days and bad days. And some of your worst days, you're like, I didn't get any results, but then they call you. 1 or 2 good conversations you had that, it's always a numbers game and good things always happen from activity. But getting back to what you're talking about, Abe, you're talking about numbers. I think it's like 5 leads an hour is a good number to get, which is getting all their information. Of course, you have their address and you're able to self underwrite too. So, if there's a house you don't want to insure with a bad roof or whatever, trampolines, dogs, you just skip over that house.
Yeah.
5 leads an hour, 3 you end up quoting because 2 you won't talk to and 1 you'll sell.
Okay. So that's really good. That's better metrics than what I was expecting on those. So that's awesome. Because, I do life insurance and I work primarily leads on the life insurance side. And that almost lines up exactly like if I went out and bought leads, right?
Yeah.
So you're saving the money off buying the leads. So you're saving a lot of business income there. by doing it that way. So
and the leads are better because you've met them face
Yeah.
to face and they've committed to talking to you again. So you're not, it's not like a lot of lead gen sites where there's a bunch of other companies reaching out to them at the same time, and they've committed, they've looked you in the eye and said, yeah, you can give them a quote. And I do send them a letter too. So there are some ways I try to reach out to them and nurture the lead, but yeah,
Well,
there's really not a downside to getting leads door to door.
What I think I like about that as well the most is you're probably getting people who would never fill out a lead, right?
Yeah.
People who need help with their
They're
insurance,
not the shoppers.
but they're never going to go online. They're never going to fill out that piece of paper. And so, but when somebody comes along and asks if they can help them, they're more than willing, they're ready. And so you're hitting an underserved market with doing it that way.
That is such a great, I used to talk about that a lot. I haven't talked about that, but yeah, the retention on those people are amazing. I still have people today that from 12 years ago, I remember everything about talking to them and sitting down in their kitchen table and everything, that come in to say hi and, that are still with us that long because they're not the type of people that shop. They like that personal connection.
Yeah.
Great point.
I love it.
Well, why don't we shift gears a little bit? Why don't you talk? I love the energy that you're bringing, and I feel like you bring that in your office with your staff and everything. So can you talk about outside of sales, just the culture of your agency? How do you create culture and all that?
That's a good question, and I don't think I am as good as many other companies out there. We definitely try to have fun. We do the traction type system. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that EOS system, weekly meetings, quarterly meetings. We're having our annual here where we're going to Top Golf. That's in December. So I just signed the contract with that today. Try to have fun. Our office has Christmas stuff everywhere already. We're just like puking Christmas. I mean, Christmas, just to make it fun to be around, Christmas music, whatever. But we let our people work from home. So the only rule is we have to have one person in the office per day, and we kind of let the team worry about who's in and who's out. So a lot of times we have company reps come in and they're like, where is everyone? They're all working from home, which is a nice benefit. I think the pandemic made us all realize that is a benefit you can give to your employees. You can still do very well and they appreciate it. And hopefully they're happier and stay with you longer too because of it.
Yeah. So when we talk about culture, I love what you know. It's fun, but also giving them the responsibility that, hey, you're an adult, right? And as long as you're going to act like an adult, I'm not going to treat you like you're a child. So go work from home, get your work done. I found the same thing with my agents. I love it.
These are our core values. We have fun, we have each other's back, and we grow.
Love it. Simple and to the point. But it was interesting you brought up working from home, because for my agents, we found out the same thing. When the pandemic happened, all of a sudden everybody switched to working from home. The agents were happier. They're getting more volume in their sales because they're happier. And so, yeah, we have found for ourselves shifting to a lot of people having that freedom to work from home made a difference. Made a difference for our clients and for our sales volumes, for our agents. And I love that you guys are doing that as well.
Yeah. But make it fun. I mean, we do have some people that like to come into the office. It's definitely not for everyone. So we want to make it super fun when they are in the office as well.
Yeah. So transitioning from culture, when you're hiring an agent or when you're hiring a customer service rep for yourself, let's talk about the agent side of things. And if you want to plug yourself here in case anybody out there is listening and they want to link arms with you, what are some things that you're looking for in an agent for your team that's going to make them successful for you?
Okay. Like a producer, we supply the leads. So we're a little bit different, whether that be through door to door, our mortgage partners, our Dave Ramsey, we're a Dave Ramsey endorsed local provider. So somebody that is okay with I don't know. I mean, we've gotten pretty lucky. I'm just pretty grateful with our sales and service team has been great. We're not necessarily recruiting now, but one of our agency reps is in serious talks with us. And this might be a person that goes out and generates his own leads, but he's a stud. So that would be fun to get him on board. I think it all kind of comes in, like, that's how we've gotten a lot of our employees is we have fun. We show we're having fun on social. They know that we're very successful.
Yeah.
And they're drawn to us. So what we're looking for, I don't even know. Someone that likes to have fun and work hard. That fits our core values. Have each other's back too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's how you're getting your business by the people that you're going out and you're talking to them. They're not shoppers, and you're probably not getting your employees by people who are filling out LinkedIn applications. And because sometimes the people that are doing that, you see them kind of hopping around a lot. So yeah,
you don't even get that many applications anymore with what's going on in the job market, right? So
yeah,
so you got to do what you can to keep your people happy.
Yeah. And if you want to tell us about your other venture too, Savador, am I saying that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure. Well, thanks for asking me about that. It's a virtual assistant company. This is my hat. And Savvy plus Vital we just mashed those words together. Nice. But I started to work with some people out of Pakistan. They did such a great job. Kind of dovetailing on hiring, it is harder to hire. It is more expensive to hire. So an advantage is to get virtual assistants in your agency. So not only you can be more profitable, but your current employees, our local employees, they have a more fulfilling job too, where they can focus on the relationships with the clients, talking to them on the phone, rounding out the accounts, talking to our referral partners, asking for referrals, not entering VIN numbers and things like that. So they did such a good job, my connections in Pakistan, that we decided to start a company this year. So I think we started in March or April, and we have 30 plus employees now, and we have clients around the country that are utilizing our virtual assistants. We call them virtual professionals. The majority are in insurance, just because that's my field. However, we are open to talking to other verticals, other industries that could utilize back office help, which is pretty much everyone right now.
Yeah. And the thing I like about that is we always talk about scaling. You can only do so much by yourself, and eventually you got to add people. And being able to scale is important in our business, because in P&C, it's very passive. You write an account today. If you take care of it, it keeps coming back. And at a certain point, when you get enough clients, you're so bogged down by managing that you can't go out and produce new. And I think
that happens to so many agencies where they plateau. They're afraid to hire, and you're exactly right. You get bogged down with the service, and what better way than to add someone for 10, 11 bucks an hour, because you don't have to be licensed. In fact, people outside of the United States can't get licensed, but 90% of the work that needs to be done in your agency can be done with a non-licensed person. So what better way to do that than hiring a great, hardworking person that speaks great English, has a 4-year college degree, is hungry to work for you for like 12 bucks an hour.
And I think what I love about that is not only are they adding value to you, but you're adding value to them by hiring them, because 12 bucks an hour for them is like, that's life-changing.
Yeah.
A lot of them over there. So
You
a lot of
nailed it,
people
Dave.
look at that and be like, man, only 12 bucks an hour, but you're adding value to them. That's changing their life as well, where they're at with that. So I love that.
It's the currency arbitrage. So they're like, this pen costs a quarter in Pakistan, but it costs $1 here, for example. So we pay them way above average over there. So they're very, very happy. They have a great culture too. I mean, our culture, I still haven't been over there to meet the team and everything, which will be in the next 3 to 6 months, but they have an amazing culture. And I just totally lost my train of thought. Currency arbitrage. I mean, we are paying them above average, giving them a great place to work, but our clients over here pay way below average. So it's a win-win-win. Everybody's winning with this model.
Yeah. So that leads us into the next question, back into insurance a little bit. The insurance industry obviously is changing as times are changing, as culture is changing, and society is changing. So you've been in the industry for 12 years, so you have quite a bit of experience, more than Nate and myself does, obviously, in the industry. But where do you see the industry changing in the next 3 to 5 years? And what are you doing in your agency to help facilitate that, maybe, so you guys aren't
Left behind.
There you go. Left behind. It's a good way to put it. Yep.
We're always trying to focus on technology. I mean, obviously technology is important, using whatever new softwares are out there. However, there always seems to be something new. Yeah. So you get that shiny object syndrome where you're always switching management systems, CRMs. I mean, we use Agency Zoom now. We use a lot of different technology, but you can't only focus on that, because you got to sell a lot of insurance too to grow. Selling a lot of premium and insurance solves a lot of your problems. Yeah. So just hiring the right people, getting virtual assistants, I think, is ahead of the curve, because employees aren't coming back. I was at a hiring symposium about a month ago, and the baby boomers all retired about 10 years earlier than they were expected. And there's literally not enough people to replace all these open jobs right now. Yeah. So just thinking outside of the box with a virtual assistant. There's a lot of great virtual assistant companies out there, so interview all of them. But doing something like that is a good way to set yourself up for the future. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do out there. We don't do most of them good, but we're trying.
So real quick, so let's say some of our listeners are wanting to get in touch with you about virtual assistants. How would they reach out to you and get a hold of you? Sure. Is there a website or an email? Or yeah,
The nice thing about having a unique name is you can just put Savvital in Google and you'll find only our information. And I can't wait till this podcast and video is in the Google machine. But you can call me at 612-326-9754. That's one way to call, or just look us up. You can set up an appointment. Super easy. And I also be wide open to talking to anybody about going door to door too, and helping agents do that, because I just think it is an old school way that works better now than ever.
Yeah, I actually have an agent who used to work for my agency, and we do mainly leads on this side, and that's just how I was taught to do it. But he left my agency and started doing door to door, and I've kept in contact with him. And he's like, dude, it's great. I spend $24. He gets a targeted list of people who are 65 and older, and he just drives around.
Like the Medicare stuff?
He does final expense, actually. Okay. So final expense and burial insurance, but that's the market he wants to target. He's like, I paid $24 for a list of 500 addresses. I go door knock them, and he's like, I'll make $10, $12, $15,000 off that $24.
Think about that
list.
Final expense guys make bank, man, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. The good ones. Yeah. Some make millions of dollars a year doing that. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's like, all it takes is just a willingness to put in a little bit of extra time, drive to their house, door knock them, and be okay with rejection. But one thing he did say, same thing you pointed out, is that the persistency of the policy staying on the books this way has been much better for him than it has been when he was working leads, because there's that face-to-face contact. They weren't somebody who filled out a lead and sent it to 20 different companies, and so his policies are staying on the books longer, and he's loving it. So that's why when Nate mentioned about you doing door knocking, I wanted to get you on here as well and dig into that with you. But
absolutely, I'd love to talk to anybody about that. That's my first love, my passion. I still like going door to door for insurance. Bring your kids if you have kids. And I know, Nate, you don't have kids, but you do, right, Abe?
Yeah, and Nate, I'll rent you my kids by the hour, man.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a good way to kind of teach them about business too, and life lessons. And like I was telling my son Ty, who's selling bags of chips now, I'm like, pretty soon you can sell bigger ticket items like maybe cable, or even sell insurance for me. And I'm like, then you'll be making hundreds of dollars a sale. Yeah. And I don't think he's that many years off from being able to do it for me, where he's like, hey, I'm with Pinnacle Insurance. My dad is across the street talking to that person. We'd love to save you money on your home insurance. Okay. And then when they say yes, hey, Dad, come over here. And I'll get their information, and I'll split the commission with them.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for being on. We really appreciate it. When we talk about insurance disruptors, I mean, you're the prime example, and you're doing something different, and you're going out there and you're committed, you're persistent. And it's great to know that there's other people out there that are lifting the industry up, and you're doing it the right way. So thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Yeah. And thanks for the podcast. I love what you're doing, and you keep it up too. Be consistent. Can't wait to have 200-300 episodes in the books.
Yeah. I really appreciate it, Troy.
All right, guys.
We'll be in contact with you down the road for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I think you guys should be on David Carruthers. Do you know who he is? He's a commercial insurance agent, Killing Commercial and Power Producers podcast.
Okay.
He has a great show that I'd love you guys to be on, where he can interview you guys too. He's just amazing. Nate, you focus on some commercial, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much the main thing I do for like outbound sales. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great mentor of mine. So check out his podcast, and I'll introduce you guys.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well,
All
thanks.
right. Thanks so much, gentlemen.